Yo, how we all doing? Today was a Tuesday, and we had no red folder news today, and we're about to go over the action that occurred today. So, um, I'm gonna remove these drawings real quick just for so you guys can see. But today, market opens up around here. We have accumulation manipulation or accumulation during London and Asia. And then we get that Judah swing profile today, where we manipulate to a higher time PDRA, and then that New York AM session we have reversal. And I'm not gonna lie, like today was exactly how I drew up today, and how I like even in the live stream how I anticipated today to happen was like exactly what happened. But I don't care to be right. I don't care to be right. As a trader, that's not something that I want to do. I don't care to be right. But today is exactly what I was looking for, and I'll share what I'm looking for in the upcoming days and what I'm likely to anticipate price to do tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. And yeah, so today in Asia and London, we had Asia consolidation, and then we actually take the high of Asia, and then we take the low of Asia, and then we start to displace. Like there's no meaningful displacement throughout here, and then we finally get that displacement. But we get that displacement at a time. This is right around 8 o'clock, and then that goes into right exactly market open. And where are we displacing towards? Where are we manipulating towards? We're manipulating right to this daily order block is what I was really looking at today. I said I was very interested in this daily order block, and that's what exactly where we manipulate towards, that daily order block level. And also on the hourly, pull it up here. Hourly, we were manipulated straight into this hourly fair value gap and this hourly order block right here. If we look on ES, if we pull up ES was manipulated straight into this 1 hour. Sorry, if I pull up the one hour fair value gap. Also, this like 1 hour order block range, you can also say, but I would more so say this 1 hour fair value gap. And also, price was taking sell side here. This is that new week opening gap that's just getting respected. And this was a classic Judas swing profile. Is what we end up having today. Price reverses and then into it, or price manipulates into a higher time frame PD array at a certain time at 9:30 to then reverse at market open. That market open volatility injects, and then we end up reversing. All of this now becomes generated buy side. We have buy side, buy side, buy side, buy side, and then buy side. And as well as that, we took previous day low. I don't personally. I know there's a good MMX Trader has a good previous day low model, or previous day high, previous day low model that he uses to trade. So you could refer back to that, but I don't personally use that model. But I know that that would be a potential model that you could create, or not create, but you could use. So basically, at market open, we kind of manipulate down into here, and then we end up having a market maker buy model. This now becomes your smart money reversal, and then this now becomes your low risk entry, your first stage of accumulation, and then this is looking like we're having our second stage of accumulation towards buy side up here. For me though, for intraday trading, I'm more so looking and framing this area right here as my original consolidation, rather than framing this as my original consolidation, just because I'm catching low hanging fruit. Like I don't care to catch all this, but this is a quote unquote market maker model within a market maker model. This is the beginning. This is the start of this market maker where you have sell side and then buy side. And look how slower the sell side of the curve is, and then now buy side of the curve, which I do think the draw is definitely this high, which is where I think, and I'm anticipating price to head towards. But we don't have to go to this high because I'm pretty sure we do have an SM2 with YM. I'm not really going to pull that up right now. But basically, smart money reversal right here. You pull up, I think a 3-minute chart on NQ was really the best, or had some details. So right here, we put in a failure swing, and then we displace higher. There was no SMT here, at least with ES. There might have been one with YM. I wasn't really paying attention to YM. But basically, I think we could have an SMT here, but basically we put in a failure swing, and then we ended up displacing higher. And then we end up creating this fair value gap here. I like this fair value gap because it's also in line with this order block. I think an entry here would have been nice. But for me, I was waiting for after 10 o'clock. You know, I value time in my trading as well, and I think that time definitely inspires a lot of trades. So After that, we end up coming, and what I do want to show up, because this is exactly what I was anticipating on stream. If we map this out in terms of price grades or swing grades, this would be your original consolidation within the market maker model. So this would be your terminus, or your level that you're anticipating the market model to complete at. That becomes your original consolidation. From 0 to 1, oh, I pressed the wrong thing. From 0 to 1, this is where you can anticipate certain things to happen within the charts. And I know it's backwards. I did it wrong. I'm supposed to do it the other way. Basically, from 0 to 0.25, which is 0.75, that's when you're anticipating that low risk entry to form. I guess you could say this could be your low risk entry off of, I mean, it's not as clear provided here, off of this order block here. This also is your breaker after that change state delivery. So that's where you have your low risk entry. And notice how the wicks are doing the damage, the bodies are telling the narrative. Look at all these wicks. The bodies are respecting this 2-minute breaker very nicely. And I want to zoom in. Also is a 1-minute breaker, but I think the 2-minute chart displays this perfectly. 2-minute candles are showing respect to that. And then we end up having a manipulation fair value gap. And then we break away with a bullish fair value gap. So you have a bearish fair value gap into a bullish fair value gap into a key level. Then we key off that level. I wasn't really looking for a trade here, but I knew that this was likely a market maker model. You can take a trade here. Cool. I was waiting for something because I know at 50%, you could expect to see some form of stop hunt, and that's exactly what we had. We had a stop hunt right here. We take this low, and it gets confirmed with an SMT. This is high probability within that model. Then after that, this was your turtle soup. This was your true turtle soup. Then this fair value gap is what I was really looking at. This fair value gap is very high probability. Stop at this low, targeting this original consolidation, and that's where I see is the best trade. That's where I think is the best trade. Still here is crazy. Yeah, I went to the dentist, bro. I went to the dentist. So we end up having an SMT, displacement higher, fair value gap. This now becomes higher probability than to this original consolidation. And then we end up forming an SMT with ES. So I would take off partials here. I would definitely have a partial taken off here. ES ends up taking these highs, and then we end up like consolidating. But really what we're doing here is we're inducing shorts into the market. We're generating liquidity lower to then have accumulation, manipulation, distribution, AMD right there. That's exactly what ends up happening. That ends up being your silver bullet. Your silver bullet right here, 10 to 11. From 10 to 11, that's when you want to trade. So in terms of price swing, once we reach equilibrium, we're anticipating a stop hunt. That's exactly what happens once price reaches equilibrium of the implied dealing range. We get a stop hunt, displacement higher, fair value gap. Once we displace through 0.75, that's when we expect to see our silver bullet. And look at where silver bullet happens. Look at where silver bullet happens. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so. Silver bullet happens right in that 0.75 area. You have the AMD. This now becomes your silver bullet. Straight to buy side, completing this market maker model. However, we are in a market maker model inside of a market maker model. So buy side is really resting up above here, but I would really look for that low hanging fruit. So I think that there was in this trade, I think that there was 2 good trades, or I would say there was 3 entries given off that breaker here. Personally, I'm waiting because I'm waiting for time as well. Like this is 9:46. I'm waiting for at least a 9:50 macro, and I'm waiting for at least 10 o'clock. But notice that's right off that daily order block. That level is being respected perfectly. Daily order block, breaker, displays higher. Because now these levels mean a lot more paired with that daily order block. If I pull up the daily order block, that's right where we're at, that daily order block. If I show up that level means a lot more. Displacement, then we create a fair value gap. Could take an entry here, SMT, another fair value gap. And then lastly, you get that silver bullet, accumulation, inducing traders, manipulation, distribution. And we are manipulated into a 5-minute and probably a 15-minute, just a 5-minute fair value gap. That's what we end up doing. And then throughout the day, this is exactly what I was anticipating. I was anticipating, and now yeah, buy side's been met. I was anticipating. You can play the stream if you don't believe me, but I mean, I don't. It doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong. But I was anticipating during lunch hour some form of run on stops, and I was expecting a continuation purge. We have, what are we doing? We're inducing liquidity into a PD array at a certain time, around lunch hour, to then take stops, to then have accumulation, manipulation, and then distribution up. This now becomes an internal market maker buy model. This now becomes a fractal market maker buy model. This is on the 1 minute. You have sell side of the curve, just inducing liquidity down to a specific level, a specific PD array, a 15-minute fair value gap. And then price gets delivered higher. Notice as well here on the left side of the curve here, sorry, I'm not going to bring that up. That's not significant. And then price displaces higher, pull back to 15-minute fair value gap. What are you going to see within here? Probably a 1 minute market maker model. A 1 minute market maker model in that 15-minute fair value gap. We know the draw on liquidity is higher. This is just inducement lower to then generate liquidity lower to then have. I want to see where's the SMT here. I know that there's likely an SMT. Yep, exactly. SMT at lows right here. ES takes this low here, NQ does not. SMT at the lows, displacement higher. This now becomes another market maker buy model. What do? We get to 50%, stop hunt, displacement, and then this now becomes your silver bullet to finish that next market maker model. And this is exactly what I was looking at. I was also looking at this fair value gap here on the left side, and I was saying that I think that we'll likely sting into this and then come back into it and then reaccumulate at 50% of this. And that's kind of what we end up doing. We end up reaccumulating at around 25%. I guess you could say 50% as well. But we end up really accumulating at 25% of that gap. Look where we reaccumulate at after this fair value gap. 25%, perfectly, boom, up to buy side. And now buy side has been met. So this is what I was really looking for. So I was really anticipating. So this is what I want to see, and this is what my biases are going to be within the next day. So if we look at this, we now have 1, 2, and then possible 3 drives pattern here. So then I think that this could possibly spark a possible reversal. If you pull up ES as well, I think we should have an SMT at the highs right now. We likely will form an SMT, but I also would not expect this SMT to hold. If we get displacement lower, like big displacement, I would mark out this SMT, but I'm not gonna mark out this SMT. I'm expecting ES to come up and still take this high just because how bullish the market's been, and I don't think there's any reason to fade this because now this becomes a very strong retail-minded support level or resistance level. So I think that this will likely get ran, and then I think that this will frame a good possible Wednesday reversal. We could possibly see that happen. But overall, we're still bullish. I want to look at YM because I want to see where YM is at on the charts. Because YM, I'm still expecting YM to take all-time highs. So I don't think YM is just going to come up and leave all-time highs. But it is a possibility you do have this rejection block that we are kind of rejecting off of. Look at the wicks here. This could be an area in which we do reject, but I'm not gonna trade based off of that. If we look at YM's failing to really displace higher today. So we're coming back up. This can be a gap to where we kind of reject off of. I would like to see maybe constant encroachment of this gap to hold on YM. Then if we look at this, I was saying this in my Discord. But if we look at this whole area over here on the 1 hour, all of this is balanced. We only had a 4 hour for value gap here and that's what we reacted off of. But if we displace now lower, I think that the draw for sure is this 1 hour gap because we don't need to reprice to any of these. We need to reprice to this. So this all becomes your balanced price range. We had that 4 hour gap that we respected very nicely today. And we headed back up here. So now my eyes are on this 1 hour fair value gap and also this small 4 hour fair value gap. I want to see if we're going to respect this. If we do end up respecting this, I think that the draw was definitely going to be these lows. And I don't trade Dow. I don't trade YM. But if we look at like NQ, we could frame a possible short to potentially these lows that we've been generating. I'd more look at this low here. That would be a better draw on liquidity, or probably this low as well. Two market maker buy models today. Did you catch it? One in the AM, one in the PM on NQ. I tape read the AM session. I tape read the AM session, but I did not. I wasn't around on the charts for this PM session, but I think this PM session market maker buy model was very nice. Exactly what I was anticipating today. This was a classic buy day. You had accumulation, and then you had your Judas profile up to buy side here. All this is generated buy side. Like this was pretty clean in my opinion. And then we have that 15-minute fair value gap. You draw that out in time. We end up sticking into it and then faking in inducing traders like we're gonna actually go lower now. Then we come back up. We fulfill that gap to then reaccumulate down at 25%. Also inducing more liquidity to then get a push higher. I think price action today was very nice. I think the price action today was very nice. Look at this. This is all generated liquidity. SMT confirming that smart money reversal. You have your chain steady delivery order block right there. Take that to buy side here, then also entry there. This now becomes your silver bullet. Come back down. We're still respecting the order block. Displacement higher. This is definitely a good study. It's definitely a good study. Overall, I was gonna pull up the daily chart for some reason. Oh, yeah, I want to show this immediate rebalance. We also had an immediate rebalance here, and then we took previous day high. I want to see how this candle closes. Obviously, we got like an hour and 17 minutes left. If we close above this high here, I'm anticipating bullish continuation, no doubt. If we close above that high on the daily. If we close above this high on the daily, which it might, or we might create a wick on this daily candle. It's always a possibility. If it goes above, I'm expecting bullish continuation. But if we don't, I think we could possibly get a retracement back in this range. But this is an immediate rebalance. So got to be cautious of that. Even ICT says that immediate rebalance is the most powerful algorithmic price delivery. And I do want to pull up ES today. I was looking at ES and I was just using ES for reference today. But I think in the PM session, looking back, my eye just immediately drew towards this fair value gap entry. That looks very nice. This looks like a very nice market maker buy model. Right on that new week opening gap. And look at how well this new week opening gap got respected today. This is what I really was paying attention to today as well. We ended up having displacement. There was no like clean entry here, at least on like the 1 minute in my opinion on ES. It was more, we were respecting order flow and order blocks a lot. We weren't really inefficient. I do like this fair value gap though, looking back. This fair value gap in that new week opening gap with an order block combined with it, also with this mitigation block, aligned with it, I think makes this trade a lot better. And then we end up heading to buy side. Then you could have left a runner to maybe possibly this fair value gap over here. So yeah, I really like this 5 minute fair value gap. That's what I like on ES. So you have that smart money reversal. Notice standard deviation targets as well. Line up very nice with that -2 to 2.5. And then look at where -4 maps this out to. I mean, it's not the clean, -4 isn't the cleanest, but I like -2 to 2.5. That's normally what I would look to target. And then we come back down. Price redelivers to that new week opening gap. Ends up being respected. I think this new week opening gap is going to have relevance for the next like 3 weeks. That's what I think. I think this new week opening gap is going to be nice to look back to, because I think that we could possibly accumulate here on the higher time frames. We're now coming back into all-time highs. So I'm just going to see what price does, and then I'm going to anticipate what price does first, but I'm going to let it show me what it wants to do, and then I'll anticipate what it's going to do next from that. But look at this new week opening gap. And the wicks are being respected. We had this one wick just to reprice lower to here. And then now we're heading higher. But I was really paying attention to this new week opening gap today. That's what I like to see. I want to pull up dollar still, because I think it's especially where we're at right now. I think knowing what dollar is doing is pretty valuable. If we look at here, I was expecting this 1 hour fair value gap. I was saying that we had a possibility for this to hold and then head lower. We now have a sell side liquidity pool resting below us. So this would frame higher prices on dollar possibly. I don't like these equal lows, these relative equal lows. I think that these will likely get attacked. We have taken this sell side here, but we haven't really truly meaningfully displaced. Yes, we do have this 1 minute fair value gap, 1 hour fair value gap, this fair value gap here, but I would like to see a little bit more. But this fair value gap has been held nicely. But look what we have done. We haven't created any new fair value gaps off of that fair value gap. We now come up and just taking buy side here, and I think that we will get a trade lower just because we're lacking, we're pausing down, we're slowing momentum. Notice as well, constant encroachment of this wick is being held. On the hourly, I want to pull up the daily just so I'm not like so zoomed in on what like that 1 hour is doing. We're coming back down. Fair value gap also in line with this low here. I would map out this in time. I would map out this level in time. I think that this one has significant. Look at where we paused. I wasn't even noticing this. Well, I wasn't really analyzing dollar that well. But look at where we ended up stopping. Constant encroachment of this wick in line with that fair value gap. That's only when I refer to old lows, when it's inside of a fair value gap. Because now this low can't get used, and this wick can be used because it's within this fair value gap. So I think that we're gonna draw to these relative equal lows here, and possibly this weekly imbalance. I mean, we're kind of within two imbalances, like I've been saying. I want to see if this fair value gap gets held, or if this order block holds. Consequent encroachment, because that's where we're exactly at right now. If I pull this up, consequent encroachment is being respected very nicely. If this holds, I think we could run higher, but we have this sell side liquidity pool here. We're now respecting constant encroachment of this wick. It all depends. I don't really trade dollar, so I'm gonna see how it opens tomorrow, and then look to really possibly take a trade off of it, or not, or base a trade thesis around it. But overall, structure is kind of in between, and I think this is really gonna set the stage to what the indices want to do here. Say we end up attacking sell side here into this fair value gap. Say we end up attacking sell side. I would now frame that we're gonna go to this fair value gap here, and I think that's gonna be the draw. So that would frame a run into all-time highs on YM. But if we end up displacing higher, that would frame lower prices on the indices. All right, and that's all I really have today. I don't really think that there's gonna be tomorrow. We have, what type of news do we have tomorrow? Hold up, someone's calling me. Tomorrow we have FOMC meeting minutes, which isn't the actual FOMC, but it could spark. It was probably gonna spark some volatility, so keep that in mind. Other than that, I think that today was some good price action that I would definitely study, and yeah, I appreciate you guys for watching this, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. And until then.